What up chaps, I am Magical Mike, and you can follow me on Twitter at YTMagicalMike, and in this video, I'm going to talk about the things that I didn't like about the Guild Wars 2 beta, the first beta. Now, let's be clear here, I love the game is freaking amazing, and while I will agree with that, I will also say that there are a lot of people on the internet who like to believe that Guild Wars 2 is perfect and there is no problem with it, and they will be zealots and they will defend it until they die. Now, as much as I'd like to believe that the game is perfect, and as much as I'd love the game to be perfect, you have to admit, guys, there are some problems. There are some problems. Alright, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the problems. I've put tons and tons of videos out. There's about 13 videos of me saying what I like about the game. I think I'm allowed to condense all my negative thoughts and things into one video. So the footage in the background is going to be whatever I've got, and hopefully whatever's relevant. Bearing in mind this is also from the first beta, we also have notes that these things may have changed by now. So bear with me and give me a chance. So I've tried to script this thing out a whole bunch of times and it just doesn't really go well. I can't really get my thoughts down properly. So I'm just going to go down this little list that I have. Firstly, the charm, dignity, ferocity system is disappointing to me. There's not much to it. I didn't really see much use for it in the beta, and that may be because I didn't do any personal story at all. So maybe it has a whole bunch of uses in there. But right now, you can pretty much choose any of those three options, and then whenever you get chat options to choose one of those things, you'll never fail depending on how high or low your stat is for that. Now I know ArenaNet wants to make this thing available to everybody, but that also takes a little bit of complication. It takes a little bit of depth out of the game, if you ask me. So maybe they could do something with that, at least make it relevant somehow. The biggest thing, easily the biggest thing in the beta that I found was that the renown quests are highly disappointing, actually. As much fun as they are, you do them once on a character, and then that's it. There's pretty much no reason to ever go back there unless you want to do dynamic events that are going on in that area. And that means that if I finish that area on a character, I do those few renown quests that are available to me, and then my friend gets into that area, and he wants to do that section. I have to go back there and help him, but I have no direction as to what I'm supposed to be doing. There's nothing on screen telling me what I can do. All I'm doing there is being a spare part, and that kinda sucks. I'd like to be able to help that friend, while also contributing somehow and helping him out. So it is a real shame that I can't do that without just kind of standing around and if anything, I'm upping the difficulty of the area because I'm making more things spawn. But saying that, also, certain problems, I'm sure this will be alleviated when the game comes out, but I noticed the very first renown quests are always 2-packed. Now, for obvious reasons, everyone's just starting the game, they're all trying to get this stuff done. But when I got into that first one in the Char area, in the Plains of Ashford, there was nothing for me to do. As soon as tools would spawn, people would take them. As soon as mobs would spawn, they'd die before I even had a chance to hit them. There was nothing for me to do. So that one renown thing took me about 10 minutes to do, which I don't think it should do. It's just, man, I had problems with that. And saying that, let's talk about the Char area for a sec. It wasn't very well balanced, I don't think. I don't think the first Char area is very well balanced. If you take the human area, and you take the amount of stuff that is in Queensdale into account, there's tons of stuff, there's so much stuff to do there. But in the Char area, you've got the very first renown heart right next to you. You go there at level 2, straight after the tutorial, and then you've got that, which you can do very quickly and get very little experience for. And then there's the next one, which is right next to you, but requires it's recommended you be level 3. And then after that, level 4 and level 5. So literally, if you're just doing those renown quests, quote unquote, then you're expected to hit one level for every single one that you do. And I don't think that's possible. I did not find that that was the case. Even when I spent a lot of time messing around, standing around, waiting for dynamic events and just finding them, the curve was too curvy. It was totally out of shape to me, and it didn't quite work out. I think they need to add more frequency of events or something. Just something to help you get experience a bit faster in that area. Something else I found out in the Char area was that I ran around the entire Black Citadel looking for crafting and gathering materials. Now I found the crafting area, and that was great. That was absolutely fine. But I thought there'd be a merchant in that crafting area to sell me gathering tools, and there wasn't. Not at all. In the entirety of the entire whole Black Citadel, there was not one merchant that would sell me gathering tools. Not one. Why is this? I know this is so minor, but if you want to do crafting, you need to start gathering early on, and you get experience for gathering, so why not do it? So I wanted to do that, and I could not find the guy. It turns out he's in Smokestead. Just one innocuous, totally random-ass guy just stood there, and you talk to him and he sells you the tools. Now I'm sorry, but I would like that person to also, maybe not that person, but that functionality to be there in the crafting area in each of the cities, because that would make more sense to me. On the other hand, maybe they could get rid of the limitless amounts of chefs and cooks that all sell ingredients pretty much everywhere you go. Oh, there's an entire area with cooking stuff over there. Great, there's 11 merchants there that all sell different ingredients. One of them will sell 2 bits of meat. One of them will sell nuts and berries. Another one will sell like salt and things. Do we really need this many merchants just to sell all this different stuff? Can you not condense it into at least less merchants? It'd be really nice if that was more obvious, and if cooking wasn't so overpowering everywhere. Oh, not that I did any cooking, but, you know. I have, just branching out a bit now, we're going to go down this list a bit faster. Map markers, there's too many map markers, I think. Obviously they need the map markers, and they add them there via scouts and things. But I know it's your choice to also go and talk to the scouts, but you're encouraged to do so, and that means that it's going to reveal sections of map to you. And then you'll be very much inclined and encouraged to go straight to each of these map markers because they give you experience and they're tangible. I know exploration is definitely a key part of the game, and I know this, and I know the jumping puzzles and things like that aren't always obvious, like the one in the Plains of Ashford that I found was totally hidden, totally out of the way. It was just in a wall somewhere, you know? And I get that. I get that it does reward stuff, but I don't know, I think they should maybe remove some map markers, or make it less obvious somehow, or more rewarding to find these more hidden sections. Who knows? In the last beta, the overflow shard system didn't work properly. It wasn't great. If you were in a party, it would split you up and it would throw you wherever the hell the game liked. Now, as of today, whatever day this is going up on, what's the date actually, Mike? Mike, the date is the 29th of May. Today, they announced that they have supposedly fixed this stuff for the next beta, and I trust them. I trust them on this. I think they have done, and that's fine. So, for the last beta, that was a problem. I'm assuming this won't be as of now, so I thought I'd mention it anyway. We're also going to go into ranged versus melee combat. Melee combat is definitely harder, and you definitely do hit much more damage for it, but I feel like there isn't enough risk versus reward stuff there. The risk is it's exponentially higher to get into melee with anything than it is to stay at ranged. If you go into a boss fight and you try and hit it with a sword, he's very, very likely to one-shot you, and there's nothing you can do about that. You only have a limited amount of endurance that you can dodge with, so maybe make melee a bit better, maybe tone down the range somehow. I don't know. Who knows? But the combat also gets very chaotic, and it's very hard to see what's going on. Underwater fights especially get chaotic, and it's very hard to see what's going on with the 3D environment. It's a bit odd. I'll say in the jumping puzzle that I found in the Plains of Ashford, inside of a wall somewhere, when you're jumping around bits of crumbling, I have to assume it's maybe Ashford Abbey or something, I don't know. In there, it's so claustrophobic that you literally cannot see what's going on. There's no depth perception when you're running through, especially this part with a bunch of fire, gouts of fire just spraying at you. You can't tell where they're going to hit you. There's no way to be able to tell that, and maybe they should improve on that. Maybe they should leave it in as a challenge. I don't know, but it's a problem I've been having, and I don't normally have that problem. The same thing with cross-profession combos. It's impossible to actually see what's going on, and unless you're in a proper team and you're properly coordinating with people, these combos are completely random. You've got no idea what's going to go on. Now, granted, there's never going to be anything bad that comes of a cross-profession combo, but it would be nice to actually know what is happening and to be able to plan it out better when there's more people around. But I have no idea how they managed to do that. The character creation has a good number of choices, but again, I will say it is a little bit limited. There is some limitation there, and they have to do that because it's an MMO, and you can't go as crazy as, say, Aeon did, without having other complications and other problems there. Like, I can't make a super fat human. Not that I'd particularly want to, but it would be nice to have the option to. And they have to be pretty. All of them have to be pretty. What if I want a gnarly, scarred guy? What if I want that? I can't get it, unless I pick the one facial option that has the one scar on it. I don't know. I would prefer more options, but, like I said in my character creation video, I think what they have is fine, and I just thought I'd mention that too. The optimization in the beta was not done. It probably still isn't done. I know the last news that we heard was that the Silvari area in particular is proving really challenging for them to optimize, and I hope they do it well. I really have my confidence in them. I think the game will be great, but I have to mention it. It wasn't optimized and it was having some problems. And what else? They mention the huge selling point in the, I can't remember the name of the video. I totally can't remember the name. Whatever, that video, I'll link it in an annotation or something, if you remind me, or if I remember. They mentioned that they want no quest text. They don't want walls of text, go do this, go do that, and all this stuff. But that's true, they don't have it. They don't have all this stuff just being all quest texty and read all this crap. But when you finish a renown quest, you get a mail. And in that mail is your reward text, and it's long. All of them are long. They're long walls of text, and they're not voice acted, and you don't have to read them, and that's what people do. They don't read them, they just skip past, they take the reward, and then that's it, they delete the mail, never read it. Now, I like that there is a mail in there, and you can take the time to read it. I like that, don't get me wrong. In the release, I will be reading all that stuff, and I'll enjoy it. But they said this kind of thing wouldn't be there, and it is. So, ArenaNet, your word isn't gospel. As much as your zealots would like, they would love to charge enemy. See what I did there? Zealots charge? No. Okay, no StarCraft players here. As much as they'd love to do that, they're not infallible, and I'd just like to point that out too. The crafting system could do with a tutorial. I'm just gonna throw that out there. For those people who aren't patient enough to actually learn the crafting and to understand it, a tutorial would be nice. At least put an optional tutorial in there. Now again, maybe in the personal story, there is a crafting tutorial in there, and that would be nice. And I'd look very stupid for saying this now, because I don't actually know, I didn't do any of the personal story, yada yada yada. But a tutorial would be nice for those people that aren't patient enough to try and learn it, because they'll be missing out if they don't do it. And maybe that's their choice, and fine. But, you know, tutorial would be nice. Thank you for listening about that. And, yeah. Well, we'll talk about world transfers. I understand why they have a need for it, because they need to balance PvP and all that stuff. But it costs gems, Maybe the guesting system will be available and we'll be able to see what that's like. Hopefully that works out fine and there's no problem there. But it is kind of off-putting to a person. If you look at that and you go, could be off-putting, could be a problem, but, you know, that's certainly not a big problem at all. What a big problem is that I found is that revival takes freaking ages unless you get help from somebody very, very quickly and you get them up on their feet. Usually if somebody goes down and you let them stay down for a little bit too long, it'll take far too long for you to be able to revive them, and it'll be worse for you to actually go and try to revive them. So I'm saying that yes, there's actually some skill involved in reviving people, that you need to get in there quickly and get them back on their feet as soon as possible, and if you don't do that, you'll be punished for it because they'll be down for longer. But I'm also saying that maybe it takes a little bit too long, especially with huge death penalties. That's certainly a problem. And sometimes it just isn't worth it to bring a guy back if they're just going to go down immediately again anyway. Also, some of the down skills are terrible. They suck. If you take the warrior skill, he has vengeance, right, as his number 3 skill. Vengeance is awful. It is the worst skill ever in PvE. I found one use for it. Just one single use. In that I was running to a waypoint that was far too out of my level range. I got downed. I managed to get vengeance enough, and vengeance bought me enough time to actually get to that waypoint so that I could revive there instead. But that's it. If you hit vengeance and then you kill the enemies that have been attacking you, you've got revenge. Great, wonderful, but then you die. You die a couple of seconds later, and that is a problem. Because what has that gained you? Oh, great, well, I got up and I killed that guy, I showed him who's boss. But not really, because 1, he's an NPC, and number 2, you're still dead anyway. And if there's no friends around to revive you, then, well, you might as well not have bothered. In PvP, definitely has its use, and I can understand that. But in PvE, totally worthless. On the flip side, the thief has a skill that will put him into stealth for a couple of seconds. In PvE, that might make mobs forget that you're there and reset and buy you time to revive yourself. Great! But in PvP, you hit that skill, and the person who's trying to finish you will then, great, he'll be interrupted, and it might buy you some time. But he will still know that you're there, and anyone who knows that the thief can do that will just stand there, wait for the thief to reappear, and then just finish you afterwards. I don't see the point of it. Some of the down skills are just lacking, and they aren't there, and I think they need to either be reworked, or just used more tactically. I'm not entirely sold on the down system. I get it, you're supposed to be down, you're supposed to be in a vulnerable state anyway, but there's something not quite perfect about it. Again, the ranger one, you have 2 skills that will bring you back. One skill will revive your pet and one will throw rocks. You have 1 offensive skill there. To me that isn't too fantastic, but we'll not dwell on the down system too much. Just know that I do have some concerns with it, and it ain't perfect. A couple of things that would be lovely to end with. It would be really, really nice to be able to inspect other players. If that system's already in there, then I haven't noticed it before and it wasn't obvious enough to me. And if that system isn't there, it'd just be nice to be able to do that, just because if I see somebody who looks awesome, I want to know what stuff he's got, so that I can buy it for myself. Now granted, I could just ask him, and it is designed to be a social game, and I get that, I could do that, but what if he doesn't want to be bothered? What if he's got some amazing gear, and he gets that stuff all the time? Hey dude, your stuff is so cool, where do I get it? If you're getting that stuff all the time, it gets annoying. I know, I used to be a moderator in RuneScape. I got pestered constantly in that game, and it gets frustrating, up to the point where I just turn chat off. And maybe it would just be nice to be able to inspect that person and be like, right, good, he's got these items, great, I know what to buy now. I know how to get them, I can look on the wiki and find out for myself. Maybe add that in, it might be something to consider. But again, isn't a huge problem. Something else with the armour is that it would be amazing to be able to preview it before you soulbind it. If I get a piece of armour, I can't see what it looks like on my character unless I bind it to my character, and if it has good stats on it, then I might want to sell it. But if it looks terrible, I might not want to keep it, I might want to sell it, right? But if it looks amazing, I'll definitely want to keep it. I don't want to... Even if it has bad stats and it looks amazing, I might want to keep it. I even might want to say, I don't know what I want to do with this piece of armour until I know what it looks like, you know? So, being able to preview armour would be lovely. And that's it. That is it. Those are my concerns, my thoughts, my disappointments, issues with the game. Now, don't think I hate the game. I love Guild Wars 2. It was such a fun experience, the last beta. I cannot wait for the next one. I cannot wait for the game to be released. I can't wait to play it. The game's... It's great. All I'm saying is that it's not quite perfect. It isn't quite done yet, and we know this. That's why no release date is there. And guys, if you stuck with me for this long, thank you. Don't just dislike because I've raged on your favourite game. I know what it's like, but if you've got an open mind and you can listen, then I applaud you, and thank you very much for listening. And hopefully some of these concerns might be addressed in the future.